The National Archives is calling all former presidents, right, and vice presidents to check their personal records, to look through their file cabinets and offices. And this is following what we've all been witnessing the past few weeks, the discovery of classified items in the homes of President Biden, former President Trump, and former Vice President Mike Pence. Bob Costa reports on how some officials suggest the government system of handling records is broken.
The past 6 administrations, dating back to Ronald Reagan, were asked by the National Archives on Thursday to recheck for classified material.
People need to be conscious of the rules regarding classified information and appropriate handling of them.
The warning from the FBI director comes after classified documents were found at the homes of a current and former president, plus a former vice president who said this just 2 weeks ago.
Our staff reviewed all of the materials in our office and in our residence to ensure that there were no classified materials that left the White House.
Face the Nation's Margaret Brennan spoke to the chair and vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, who are pushing intelligence officials for more information across the board about the sensitive papers that have been found.
The notion that we're going to be left in limbo and we can't do our job, that just cannot stand.
If in fact those documents were very sensitive, materials were sensitive, then the intelligence agencies are tasked with the job of coming up with ways to mitigate that.
In Pence's case, part of the explanation from one source is that Trump discouraged aides from admitting defeat and preparing to move out. So Pence's aides didn't begin packing until after the Capitol attack. Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, now a critic, says the process of dealing with classified records at the end of an administration has concerning gaps.
The transition out process for presidents and vice presidents is obviously flawed.
Later today, former Vice President Pence is scheduled to speak in Miami, his first public appearance since the story broke this week. And on Capitol Hill, Republican Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, he is now threatening to hold up Biden administration nominees until officials share more details on what they know about all these records. Errol?
And Bob, I'm curious if a notification from President Biden was required to be sent to the DOJ, because part of what this all seems to show is that there's an unclear procedure in some ways.
This is a procedure where there's a lot of good faith versus rules. And you have an operating system where when administrations end, presidents, vice presidents count on their military aides, their advisors, sometimes in the rush of an exit, to pack up everything and to make sure that classified materials are not brought back. And as I spoke with Ambassador Bolton yesterday, it's evident that what complicates all of this is that intelligence officials, national security officials, when they brief the president, when they brief the vice president, in any administration, they have to trust, Bolton said, that those documents are going to be safe inside the White House and being taken care of. But Bolton admitted, as do other sources, that at the end of the day, no one's really tracking these documents after they're given to these high-ranking officials.
And that's no small detail. I'm curious if any former presidents have commented on the request from the National Archives. Of course, we've already heard from, I believe, President Trump and President Biden, but anybody else?
We're still waiting to hear from some of the names, like former Vice President Dan Quayle, former Vice President Al Gore, former Vice President Dick Cheney. But we did hear from George W. Bush, the 43rd president. His office told CBS's Jenna Gibson that they have no classified materials unaccounted for in his archives in Texas.
And so, Bob, what do you make of this? Because as you referenced, it's about a good faith effort to make sure private classified documents are tracked. But if they're not tracked, who in the government can really be responsible for making sure they're safe?
I've been speaking to intelligence sources and national security sources since this story broke. And here's something that has emerged in those conversations. There is a concern inside that national security community that too much material is classified or called top secret. And so much is given that label. So when it circulates, it's immediately at risk if it's seen as top secret. And yes, things that go to sources and methods of intelligence gathering, very risky to have in any kind of unsecure location. But there is a plethora of material now in our federal government that's labeled top secret. And there is a concern that if there's something for a foreign trip that's mostly innocuous, maybe it shouldn't have always that classified designation. And so there's discussions about reforming the flow of paper, but also the designation of paper.
You know, I read somewhere recently, it was one estimate that there may be 1 million Americans at least who have top secret classified clearance. But as you know, it's usually in special areas and private spaces. It's a lot of information to track down and to make sure, there's a lot of people to track as well. Bob Costa, thank you very much. We'll keep an eye on your reporting as well.